Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I just rented a room over here at the Riverside Inn, which, thinking about it now, I probably should have rented a room in in the new inn that I built, but you know what? That's okay. Today, well, like I said, we would be working on a newer kind of project, I guess, over in, I don't really have a name for this area, I guess. It's the factory where I built the factory at last time, or however many times ago. I decided that I wanted to add a few more buildings in here. I don't really have I guess I don't have a name for this forest, and that's probably for a good reason because this isn't really going to be a forest forever. It's going to be, I guess, like the industrial area of the city. So, I think you all like the what would you call this? The factory, the explosives factory. I think this was kind of a build that most of you all liked, so I definitely had fun building it. I think it was one of my favorite builds to actually work on, which is always a plus and a positive when building in Minecraft if you enjoy the project. There's a lot of really cool builds here in this world that I really disliked building, and so it always helps when I enjoy it, and that's exactly what happened with this one. This new building, I have really enjoyed it. And so this is actually going to be a furniture store slash, I guess, lumber mill sort of thing. And we already have Lunk's Lumber down there a little ways, but this is, I guess, kind of in the same sort of vein as that. Lunk's Lumber takes the some of the logs and will distribute them back up here. But this is going to be a huge building. And I'm really excited about how this is kind of going to turn out. So far, what I've done is just the outer frame of it. And this isn't really the best view from this side, but this is the main entrance right across from the explosives factory. But let's go over to the other side where you can kind of get a better idea of just how big this building is and what it's going to be really, how it's going to fit into this world and what it's going to be used for. So let's see it on this side. Have to go up by Weegel's slime mine up here. But yeah, you can see kind of on this side. This is a big building, and it's got like multiple kind of smokestacks coming up. But there's something interesting that you might see with this build. It's very basic. Like the colors are not at all like there's only two block types that I've used. That's like the regular oak wood and the spruce wood, I guess. And that's all that I used on this build. And you're probably thinking, wow, that really is like not great. Like, Jark, I like the design that you built, like the architecture, but the colors, they just aren't great. Well, that's kind of by design. So if you've ever seen like an old industrial building, like an old wooden industrial building, they're very basic. In fact, I actually originally thought about just doing all of the roof in oak and things like that, but the problem was you really couldn't tell the detail and the transitions, so I decided to throw in some of the spruce. But if you ever seen like one of those old like lumber mill type of things, they are all built out of the same type of wood, and they're always very intricate. Like, it's the same exact type of building material, but there's so many like details and different things with it, and I always thought that those buildings just looked so cool. And that's kind of the idea that I was going for here. And of course, this isn't complete. Like, there's tons more details I have to add to the outside of this build, and obviously the inside, to make it function and look cool, I guess. But so far, I really think that this is a cool start to it. And so back here, if you guys, well, this is outside the city walls, but in a few episodes back, I mentioned when I was working on this that this whole area is going to be transformed. So this river that goes through here will eventually extend out here and into the forest. And that forest will be taken, the forest line will be taken back quite a ways back there. And this will be a river going through here and then a bunch of wheat fields, similar to what's below the mountain on this side. But this river will run all the way through to the lumber, and I'm going to set up like a logging station there. And so from there, they'll float those logs down river here, and it'll come. And this awning, I'm going to put like something to pick up the logs, and it'll bring them inside of there for them to be processed into furniture. And so that's going to be quite the project, working on all of that. But I want to go ahead and get started on this portion of it and kind of get you all an idea. But I'm really excited about what that's going to look like. And so right now what I've got is kind of like this like little dock area almost. And so I'm going to build like a mechanism that'll pick up the logs and transport them inside of there. And then from the inside of this, well, there's a lot to do. This is a pretty big building. And so there's going to be multiple floors. There's going to be like a floor coming out through there. And then another one like way up top there. Let's kind of just pillar up here. I'm using actual oak logs. But this is kind of what it looks like from these like little areas up top. And these aren't just for looks. Like they're for strategic use as well. If you've ever been into like a wood mill or something like that, there's like sawdust and ventilation issues and all that stuff. So these, when this is being used, will likely be opened up in order to get ventilation into this place and all that fun stuff. But that probably doesn't make that much sense. If any of you actually work in a lumber yard or a processing facility for lumber, you probably think that that's stupid. But in my mind, that's kind of what would happen in those. And I've been in a few of them, and they're pretty cool places. But in my mind, that's what that's used for. But yeah, I'm very excited about this build and kind of what's to come with it. There's going to be, I think, maybe 2 or 3 episodes that will be on this area right here, and then I'll start working on the outside area. So right now I've been collecting up wheat so I can plant all that wheat farm and things out there. But yeah, let's get up here and get into today's lore reading, I suppose. And also stay for the whole lore reading because I'm going to show something at the end with it. And all that stuff. So here we go. We now make it to the tragic tale of Vork Heart Attack Clamp, who was elected as king in 5130 after the death of Nedward Fleam. King Clamp got his nickname Heart Attack just a few short days after his election, 35 days to be exact. One morning he woke up and stood up too quickly and had the inevitable heart attack for which he was destined. History does not reveal whether he got his nickname before or after the incident. Most assume after, and would surely be correct. However, some more sinister historians guess that it could have already been his nickname due to the fact everyone in his family had also had heart attacks at some point. The nickname could have been a mere joke to poke fun at the inevitable, or so some say, perhaps it was quite a curse. So, pretty interesting there. Poor Vork had a heart attack just 35 days into his reign as king. And so I'm going to put up a little chart here. So obviously these lore readings, this is all in the past. And I've gotten about halfway through the lineage of the kings of this region. And eventually I'll get up to the present where the fun lore will really start once present day gets here. But I do have to cover the past because a lot of these buildings and different things in this world don't make sense unless the past is covered. So hopefully you all are patient with me. There's some interesting stuff, some funny stuff thrown in, but also a lot of just boring history that's gone on in the lore readings so far. But if you stay and listen to all of them, it will all make sense one day. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video here and get started working again on this build. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all